So tell me about your family. You were
Yes, well,
married, obviously, and then
yes,
you
married.
had this family. What happened?
we just kept on working.
Yeah.
You did.
Yes.
Continue.
Absolutely.
Now, obviously, in that whole life change, you trusted Christ someplace,
Yes,
right?
after we'd been
What
married
happened?
about 10 years. I was going to church when I met Bill,
What kind of church?
a Methodist church,
Okay.
and I was very active. And when Bill asked me to start dating, well, I wasn't real keen on dating. So when we did finally start dating, and he was very serious and wanted to get married, and I said, oh, I wouldn't marry anybody that didn't go to church on Sunday. Well, he golfed every Sunday with his buddies he had done for years.
Yeah, that was his routine.
That was his routine. So I just said, well, I wouldn't marry anybody who didn't go to church on Sunday.
Good for you.
Well, the next week he said, I'm going to church with you. And so then when I mentioned to the pastor that he would really like to get married and that he had given up golf to come to church, he said, I think he's serious. So anyway,
That was a great testimonial.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
I
been
appreciate it. I'll pay you later.
Yeah. Now, you're married. How many children do you have?
Well, Bill has one son by a previous marriage, and I have two by a teenage marriage, both of us.
So you had a blended family.
We have a blended
How
family.
did that work?
Great. He was like a drill sergeant.
Boy, you've been that way most of your life,
Yes.
haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. When he
But
told
you know, no, I don't think a person ever get a better compliment than when you have three sons come back and say, I appreciate the example you set for us.
That's the best.
It is.
It is.
and the discipline and appreciating authority.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because then
that's
they
right.
went in the military when they got out of
Yeah.
school.
Oh, yeah.
And
We only have a half hour to talk.
So we gotta
So
talk
we got to
fast.
move along.
We gotta talk
But I
fast.
just wanted to find out how this all began and your background. And Nita, you had a wake-up call. And it came when Bill said, there is nothing wrong with me.
yes, that
What-
was
How many years ago would that be?
1999.
Okay.
But that was really after he started having problems, but I didn't realize he was having health problems. I thought he was having senior moments.
Yeah.
But I taught a Bible study at the Pentagon on my lunch hour. I did that for 20 years and just gave up my lunch and had Bible study and prayer.
Good response?
Oh, we started out with 5 ladies. And I said, we're only going to study the Bible. We're not going to study somebody's book or anything like that.
That's a good idea.
But let's just learn what does God say. And so I did that for 20 years.
Good for
And
you.
you know, we started out with 5. And the main thing God put on my heart to teach was faith and believe what God said was true for us today. And then acting on the words and prayer. Faith and prayer. And God started answering so many prayers in that Bible study that in a few years, I don't want to say instantly, but in a few years, there were women that would give up their lunchtime, sit on the floor, stand around the room. It was just packed out. The chaplains
So
couldn't
the Pentagon
understand
had
it.
no problem with this.
They didn't have any problem.
Separation, you know, all of that stuff.
No, the chaplains all supported the class. They just wanted to know how I had a class with so many different races, so many different levels of occupation and salary and all this, and didn't have any problems. And I said, well, I just pray before every class.
Good for you.
They said, well, probably everybody does. I said, well, I bind every spirit that's not of God, command it to be silent in the name of Jesus, and nobody argues.
Oh, that's great.
And so anyway, when we had all these wonderful miracle answers to prayer,
So you were used
people
to
were healed right there in our prayer
Wow.
meetings.
So
that's
you were
wonderful.
used to accepting that God heals today.
Oh, absolutely.
And now Bill has something that you cannot explain, right?
That's right. And doctors couldn't diagnose it. In Virginia, I took him to, you know, a couple of doctors, and they said, well, it's not his heart, and it's not arthritis, and